Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to introduce the keynote speaker this evening, Stephanie Cutter, who just got a major shout out, served as deputy campaign director for the 2012 Obama campaign, which we won, by the way. Her work as a take no prisoners defender of the president earned admiration, even from her ideological opponents. The White House communications director under George W. Bush called her the warrior princess of this election cycle. Before the 2012 campaign, Stephanie worked for bosses as diverse as Ted Kennedy, Tim Geithner, Michelle Obama, love the bangs. She always exhibits an inspiring commitment to progressive ideals and a pragmatic focus on getting things done. That's how it works here, right? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Stephanie Cutter.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It really is an honor to be with you. First, let me congratulate Nancy. I know you're over there somewhere. Nancy, someone said something about you last night that I only hope will be said about me someday. You are tough on your enemies, and you are straight with your friends. And that struck me as spot on, because I've seen you in action. For 8 years, you fought and given this organization everything you had. It's easy to see the fruits of your labor, all the hard work that you've put in. Just go up to Capitol Hill or to state houses around the country and count how many more pro-choice representatives you and NARAL have helped get there. It's not an accident that Roe v. Wade is still around. But not all of the evidence of your legacy is as visible. Think about how many women were able to make their own decisions about their health care, because they had a choice. We can't really count them, but each one of those women represents what you've worked so hard for. So I congratulate you, and I personally thank you. And I congratulate Elise. I know you're over there too. Elise, as you grab the torch that is being passed to you, I know you'll be bringing with you a unique understanding of something that is near and dear to me, the power of grassroots organizing, and the power of individual voices adding up to collective action. And I want you to know that we have your back. You know, I've been in politics a long time. I've worked in all 3 branches of government. That introduction makes me sound very old, by the way. And I've been on just a few campaigns. Alongside both Nancy and Elise, actually. I've been through confirmation fights for pro-choice justices and fought against those who wanted to take our choice away. I've been through legislative fights for important laws like Obamacare that give women access to health care. And I've helped elect and re-elect 2 presidents who, like all of you, have fought to protect a woman's right to choose. So I've seen it up close. But believe me when I tell you this, and I have a feeling that you will not disagree with me. And all that time, I've never seen anything like what we all saw last year. So when did it all start? Well, it started 40 years ago, really, but I think it reached a fever pitch just a little over 2 years ago. You know, I've studied this, and here's what I think. I think Republicans misread their mandate after the 2010 elections. They thought the American people, both men and women alike, agreed with them that women shouldn't make their own choices. And they thought that 2012 would mean even a better year for that extreme agenda. You all remember what happened next. You know the story. Republicans nominated candidates for president and vice president who wanted Roe v. Wade overturned, and who promised to get rid of Planned Parenthood. They nominated Senate candidates who didn't understand that rape actually can cause pregnancy. They passed a platform that includes an amendment that would ban abortion even in the case of rape and incest. They held congressional hearings on contraception, but didn't include a single witness who would ever use it. When the Republican Party took heat for trying to limit our access to mammograms, cervical cancer screenings, and contraception, the head of the RNC brushed it off and compared it to the war on women to a war on caterpillars. Seriously. We had some fun with that one. The governor next door in Virginia, you all know this, pushed a bill forcing women to get transvaginal ultrasounds. Try saying transvaginal on TV. Make sure your mother's not watching. He wanted to require women to have them even if they don't want them, even if their doctors say they don't need them. And not to be outdone, the governor of Pennsylvania said that if women don't like it, they can just close their eyes. So as the president said on the campaign trail, are you kidding me? In fact, one of my favorite lines in this last campaign came from the president in the second debate. Not the first debate, thankfully. When he said, Governor Romney feels comfortable having politicians in Washington decide the healthcare choices that women are making. I think that's a mistake. Yes, it is a mistake, and millions of women and men also agreed with the president. You see, as we look back at 2012 and as we plan for the future fights, here's what's important to remember. Those extreme views are not what made this campaign such a watershed moment. The moment wasn't defined by their threats or their words. It was defined by our action, collectively. It wasn't defined by them, it was defined by us. It was the way we responded, rose up, rallied together that made this past year so remarkable. It was the fact that we just didn't make this a question of choice, which was important, but it was a question of respect and independence. It wasn't just political, it was personal. And women all over this country, and men too, felt it. In every campaign I've ever been on, and there's been a lot of them, the folks on the other side have always tried to paint us as controversial and say our views were out of the mainstream. Well, this time we turned the tables on them. They were so far to the mainstream, they weren't even on the charts. But in all seriousness, those tables were the big moment of this campaign. How did it happen? It happened because of organizations like NARAL and leaders like Nancy. It happened because of all of you. You know, I can't remember another Democratic convention where just about every single speaker, and Tina Chen, who's here, reminded me of this, including Nancy and the First Lady on the first night of the convention, Sandra Flick on the second night of the convention, and the President on the final night of the convention, used the same strong words about protecting a woman's right to make her own health care decisions. Every single one of them. I saw so many young women jumping up and screaming at rallies when the President or the First Lady talked about keeping politicians out of those decisions. Women from coast to coast organized and registered voters, knocked on doors, got out the vote. That was the watershed moment. When the other side used the same old playbook to try to roll back the clock, well, and my friends make fun of me for this line, but we clocked them. And we did it really well. And most importantly, we did it together as one. And let me tell you, as someone who stuck her neck out, again and again on TV, at debates, at events, online, I could feel it when everybody had my back. When the president had my back, and when Nancy had my back, and when women all over this country had my back. It made all the difference in the world. So in the end, the reason for the double-digit gender gap was because we used our voice, and we had each other's backs. Though, to be fair, Mitt Romney had a little something to do with it. We had a joke on the campaign trail, and I hope it comes off as funny as we thought it was, that when he watched Mad Men, he thought he was watching the 11 o'clock news. We did. We had more jokes, but that one is clean. In all seriousness, one of the big reasons women turned out this year was because of the debate around choice and how we defined it. And the reason there was such an emphasis on choice was because we used our voice. When we were faced with the extreme policies from the other side, we didn't respond on their terms. We did it on our terms. We responded with our own stories. You saw some of that tonight. And we showed the country that this is a really personal issue. I applaud NARAL for programs like Choice Out Loud. That was an amazing presentation, helping women share their stories. I thank all of you for everything that you are doing to support the activists, the organizers, and everyday volunteers working to protect our values and our voices. Roe v. Wade is 40 years old. Like many people here, I've never really lived in an era without Roe. Our default has been that this right exists, and having it taken away was an abstract fear. Like many of you, I didn't grow up thinking that anyone would ever make healthcare decisions for me other than me. Even in my political life, I more or less took it for granted. But just because Roe has never been overturned doesn't mean it never will. Just look at what is still happening on the other side. It's unbelievable. I don't mean this period of half-hearted post-election soul-searching that a losing party always does, and believe me, I know what I'm talking about there. We can't fall for that. We're not going to fall that. Not when all that's changed is that they've edited out their talking points, any talk of rape or caterpillars. We know who leads and who follows in today's Republican Party. We know what their agenda is. We know what they stand for. Here's all you need to know. On the third day of this new Congress, not even 1 month ago today, Paul Ryan, you all remember him, co-sponsored a bill to defund Planned Parenthood. Now, if their own failed vice presidential nominee is still trying to roll back the clock, you tell me, did they really learn the lesson of the 2012 election? That's easy. No, they didn't. They can change their talking points, but they're not changing their positions. And they're not changing their game plan. Just across the river in Virginia, they're trying to elect Ken Cuccinelli as governor. I know you remember him. I'm with you. He was literally the first attorney general in America to sue to take down the Affordable Care Act, something that is near and dear to me. Just a month ago, he urged Catholic bishops to go to jail to protest having women having access to a contraception. Now, he's changing his talking points, but we can't let him be elected governor of Virginia. But we can elect Terry McAuliffe, and we need to do that on our terms. I know Terry was here tonight, so Terry, if you're still here. So the real question is not whether they've learned the lesson of their defeat. It's whether we'll learn the lesson of our victory. That when we speak up, speak clearly, tell our stories, and have each other's backs, we win. Nancy, thank you for all that you've done to lead the way to get us here. Elise, with you at the helm of NARAL, I know we will speak loud and clear. And to everyone here tonight, thank you for all that you've done to ensure that our voices are heard and will continue to be heard. Thank you.